Bereich geschwenkt. Die neuen Führung.
Was wird jetzt?
Ja, und da darf ich noch einmal begrüßen zurück an der Bahn zum abschließenden Zweierbob der Frauenbewerb hier. Durchgang 1, Startzeit 15 Uhr und 4 Minuten. Da haben wir noch ein bisschen Zeit. Es sind nämlich jetzt noch genau 5 Minuten bis zum Start. 5 minutes to the start.
Fourth race of the IBSF, fifth race of the IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Cup in Innsbruck in Austria. The final time a World Cup race will be held on this track in its current format. Since 1975 they've been racing on this track, and by next year it will have changed again. Well, welcome back everybody to our final action of the weekend, and interestingly it is the women who will go out last. So what can we expect from this 1220 metre track? Well, a short, flat start, which is the key to everything. A quick start time is really crucial because the remaining 14 corners are well known. Little left-hand curve into curve 2. So turn 1 to 2 is very slow, very flat here, down to corner 3 as well. You can hear the wind rush starting to build as we come into the upper labyrinth. 3 corners in a row, 4, 5, and 6, and then down to the Kreisel. You can see the new finish building behind where the Kreisel is. The Kreisel will remain out of the 270-degree Kreisel, down into corner 8. This sets you up for 9, and the exit of 9 slightly uphill over a brow, dropping back down into 10, the defining part of the track for the lower part. And then if you get the line right out of 11, 12, 13, and across the finish line in corner 14 should be okay. If not, it can be very sketchy. This is sketchy though, brakes on before the final corner, and then after it, as we come into the station, slowing the sled down in the tunnel. If not, you go straight out the other end and up the rubber. Well, as always, beautiful views here in Innsbruck, nestled in the mountains of Austria's Tyrol, with the town of Innsbruck, the city of Innsbruck at the bottom. So Lara Nolte, Kim Kalicki here, both with wins this season. Kalicki back with favourite brake woman Leonie Fiebig. She was ill before Christmas. Alana Myers-Taylor, another regular who knows this track well. It's been a season dominated by the 3 German women. Only 4 people have gained a medal. There's the other one to have won a medal, Keisha Love. So she is the only non-German to have taken a medal. Lolo Jones with Kaylee Humphries. Lolo back in the squad. They were the world champions in 2021 in Altenburg. And Lolo returning for another crack at the Winter Olympic Games. Well, all the athletes warming up in a relatively dry parking lot. Sometimes there's lots of snow and ice and slush. Sometimes it's relatively dry, as it is today. Another beautiful sunny day in the Tyrol. And in our start list of 27 sleds, we have 2 debutantes and somebody celebrating their 100th start as a driver. And somebody else with even more than that, 125. See if you can guess who they are. You probably won't need 2 guesses. Race 5, IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Cup in Innsbruck in Austria. Final action of the Innsbruck weekend. First up, Slovakia's Victoria Chenanska and Lucia Mokrosova. These pair have completed now 13 World Cup races together. This is their 14th start. The Youth Olympics silver medalist from 2020. 2 World Cup here, 12th and 17th last year. So 12th place her best result here, 9th place her World Cup best finish. Let's see what fresh ice and a good spritz over the lunch break can do to the track. Well, 5:82 the start is going to be a defining factor. This is such a well-known track. Drivers use pretty much the same line. There are no secrets here, so good acceleration at the start is absolutely key. Nice smooth lines so far. Fresh, fast ice definitely won't hurt in their battle to make it into the top 20. Out of the 27 starters, only the fastest 20 go through. 9 to 10, tapping on both sides. Big height in 10 near the woodwork. Little late flop. And that will leave her a little late down into this 3-corner high-speed labyrinth at the bottom. Across the line there. And it's a 53.27. Track record set by Lara Nolte and Nela Skuten in February 2023, the last race here, and that was a 52.41, so 86 hundredths away from that. May not be in track record territory this afternoon. On the other hand, don't bet against it. 9 to 10, double tap, right up by the woodwork in 10. Possibly actually touch the woodwork. Good height though, helps with the acceleration down into the lower labyrinth. So, Slovakia down and done. First heat at least. Next up, Sarah Blizzard of Australia with Ashley Werner behind her. Now, Ashley in her 6th World Cup. She drove monobob and World Cup bobsleigh before Beijing. It's her 2nd World Cup as a brakewoman. 4 World Cups as a driver. In and down, 584. So a couple of hundred slower than we saw Victoria Chinanska and Lucia Makrosova. Ashley Werner stepping away from bobsleigh for a couple of seasons, returning with Sarah Blizzard. Sarah, another former brakewoman who's been driving over the last couple of seasons, now making it 2 Australian sleds in the World Cup. Better speed than we saw from Chinanska, so the gap should come down. It has done a little. She's running out of track quite rapidly. Much nicer 9-10 to transition, and that should make a big difference. Well, it hasn't though. Speed's not quite where I thought it might be. Across the line, 800s back.
Very good. Nice.
Anne van Nieuwenhuis, the coach, helping out Sarah, obviously coaching the Belgians. Kelly van Petegem, and also helping out with the Dutch. Yeah, actually a little ambitious on the brakes. Oh, nice 9-10 transition. This is out of the Kreisel down to turn 8. She kind of got in pretty nicely there as well. And 9-10, look, watch the runner tips. Releases the steer just as she's coming off the corner. Down into turn 10. And there's Ashley, there is Sarah Blizzard. Ashley Werner at the back there. And next up, Ying Qing of China with Liu Chen behind her. The 19-year-old brakewoman, only in her 2nd World Cup, started her first race last week in St. Moritz. This is the 28th Women's Bobsleigh World Cup since her debut in February 2019 in Calgary. One of not many athletes in the field who have raced in the now extinct Calgary track. 5 World Cups here. Best of 7th. 10th last time out. And actually she was 8th on her debut. Better speed than we've seen before, but the gap has gone from 200 at the start to 1100. She stabilised that. Chinanska's early start draw certainly not hindering her. Ying Qing a little uncomfortable 9 to 10. Still 1100s back. She's going to be 3rd of 3 at the line. 900s back, just 100th behind Sarah Blizzard, and that actually might make a big difference. Might be the difference between the Aussies making the race and the Chinese. Not they might both be in, they might both be out. We don't know yet. Ivo Danilevich runs up to help. He's their driving coach. Here out the Kreisel. Comes out a little late. Just a late flop out of 9 as well. Straightens up the steering. Back into the wall on the driver's left, heading down to 10 where you want to be on the right. All right, mistakes to tidy up if she gets a 2nd heat. Into the top 10 in our World Cup standings. Random draw for these athletes as well. Andrea Greco with Teodora Vlad. 26th World Cup race for Teodora, 51st as a driver for Andrea, plus 17 as a brakewoman. She's actually driven in 10 World Cups here alone. 5.64 getaway. That's 2/10 faster than Ying Qing and Liu Chen for a start. That won't be the fastest start. She is in the middle, probably, of the 10 to 15 fastest starters. Second best speed, 2600s up. So starting comfortably quicker than anybody in the first three, and that makes a big difference as well, but gets 9 to 10, all sideways, double tap. Down into the labyrinth, not adding anything to her advantage. At the line, 3100s in front, 52.96. Well, now, is this going to be 1 to 6, Andrea? 7 to 14, Andrea? Or 15 to 21, Andrea? We'll have to wait and see where that leaves her. 2 6 places, her best World Cup results in the races she's driven. December 2020 and February 2023. She was only 11th last year, though, Andrea. Next up, Kim Kalicki with Leonie Fiebig, reunited. 28th World Cup start for Leonie, 37th for Kalicki. She was the silver medalist here last year. The last race, in fact, that was Kim's 5th silver medal. 3rd in a row with Leonie Fiebig behind her on this track. Victory last time out in St-Moritz for Kalicki. She hasn't been off the podium this season, with a gold, a silver and 2 bronze medals. .544 start, 4 tenths quicker than the first 3 sleds, and 2 tenths quicker than Andrea Grecu and Theodora Vlad. So really relishing the starting power of combination of her and Leonie Fiebig. .7500s up. This is where the medals are going to be, somewhere around this mark. Kim Kalicki at the line. New track record, 52.09. Here we go. We had track records falling in monobob. I think 4 times the track record was eclipsed in the first heat of the monobob. We had track records in both heats of the 2-man, not in the 4-man this morning. 52.09. It was 52.41 from February 2023's race. Goodness me, that is a big slice of time taken out of that. And 600ths off the fastest all-time start of Alana Myers-Taylor and Asia Evans. That dates back to January 2014. All right. Maybe even the start record might be in danger. Speaking of Alana Myers-Taylor, she is up next. Her 100th race as a women's bobsleigh driver, 15 also on the brakes. She's had 14 World Cups here, 2 gold, 3 silver, 2 bronze. Of her 50 medals, 7 of them have been on this track alone. Gold and 2 silvers on the brakes as well in her medal haul. 5.53 the getaway, with Jasmine Jones behind her. Jasmine raced in Innsbruck with Alana last year as well. They finished in 6th position. We're upping the number of Joneses in the US team as well. At one stage there was 3. Jasmine, Lola and Brianna Jones. Still got 2. 900s back from Kalicki at the start. She's holding a 2 tenths deficit. 2300s, a little late in the labyrinth. This will leave her in 2nd place, but 3 tenths behind. Oh, and just off the ice onto the rubber matting. Oh, nice line from Alana. Again, maybe having to work a little hard in quarter 9 to get the exit she wanted. Speed was just going away, and that was late in the labyrinth. I'm sure that Jasmine Jones felt that. She has crashed with Alana before. Next up, the world champion Lisa Buchwitz with Nela Schuiten behind her. 15th World Cup for Nela, 18th as a driver for Lisa. St. Moritz marked her 17th women's bobsleigh race, the same number that she started as a brakewoman. In and down in 5:44, ties the start of Kyllikki and Phoebe. The game is on. Last year she won both of the 2 monobob races and the women's bobsleigh. She won the monobob yesterday. She's got 4 race wins in a row on this track and is looking for number 5 here. But 400's back at the Kreisel. The speed not as good as Kyllikki. Little late flop there as well. 9 down to 10 was uncomfortable. That's not going to help. Gaps doubled. Well, she'll be second at the line. Nela Schuiten tucked in underneath. And then braking hard after that final corner. Nicely comes to a halt. So 52.24 the run. Lisa Buchwitz, second place, but 1500's back. That's a lot of work to do, and that assumes that nobody goes faster than Kyllikki. 1500's in St. Moritz is eminently doable. 1500's in Innsbruck, that is hard graft. Not a bad exit, just a little late steer though. See the back runners cutting the ice as they flop down off the wall. It takes energy to do that, and that's energy out of the sled. Nela on the left, Lisa on the right. Next, Katie Bile with a new brakewoman from Jamaica, Christiana Williams, a 4x100 silver medalist in the Olympics in Rio and a World Championship bronze medalist in London 2017. Trains at the same gym as Katie Bile. That's the connection there. Gets in, gets down. Her first bobsleigh race. 5.49, 500ths off the fast start. Oh my goodness, this could be a revelation. Well, the Jamaicans might come looking for her. Katie Bile from 500ths back. 4th best speed, but 2300ths away. Decent height in 10, but not the highest line we've seen. A little late in the labyrinth as well. 3/10ths back, just behind Alana Myers-Taylor. 4/10ths back at the line. 52.49. So Christiana Simone Williams makes her World Cup debut. Jamaican sprinter on the back of the Austrian sled. Oh, Katie took a moment or two to settle there. How many times they've loaded live into a sled before, the two of them together? Not too many. Keisha Love, bronze medalist in race 2 of the season. Emily Renner behind Keisha. 2 bronze medals in her women's bob driving career. She's been a winner in the monobob. Keisha, another former brakewoman turned driver. All 3 American pilots in this race started at the back. Alana Myers-Taylor made a debut with Erin Pack. Kaylee Simonson, as she was then, started out as a brakewoman for Canada. And Keisha Love as a brakewoman for the USA. and all bring that starting power to the game when they learn to drive. 5:53 is the getaway. So 900ths off Kilicki, the leader at the start. That's out to 2100ths. Raced to 8th place in last year's World Cup. This is her second time driving here in World Cup. Not a bad run from 9 to 10, little skid and the tiniest of taps. Little late flop out of 10. Getting late into the labyrinth. Really had to... Schreiber blows the cheeks out. Really had to haul that off. And that is an instinct flinch. That's not a contemplated move. That's, whoa, get it off. Because they got in late. And it's very easy to barrel roll a sled down there. Not sure if Emren knew how close they came. She probably felt it. Late flop out of 10, gets tapped away in 11. Big height in 11, late off 11, very late onto 12. Yoinks it off, rather than rolls it off. Good choice. Not sure choice came into it. I think that was just all instinct. Next up, Lauren Alter, our Olympic gold medalist with gold medal winning brakewoman Deborah Levy. 2 wins in the first 2 races of the season, 2 silvers since then. 5:42, another epic start from this Olympic gold medal winning duo. Bronze here in last year's race. Does not want to settle for that. She has been a winner on this track. Will her 39th World Cup start bring her a 5th gold here in Innsbruck? Well, this morning, Francesco Friedrich took his 9th straight 4-man win on this track. And Nolter just holding the slenderest of leads. Could come down to a dead heat at the line. No, it's a new track record. She's 400ths up. So she retakes the track record. So Kim Kilicki had it at 52.09. It is now 52.05, just 400ths in it. Push bar collapsing under Lauren Alter. That could be so dodgy. We've seen athletes really trap their hands badly in there. Don't forget, it's got your body weight on it as it goes down. There you go. Olympic champions leading in the first heat here with another new track record. So 10 in, 2 inside the old track record, and it is a German 1, 2, 3. 11th of our 27 starters, Margot Bock, with Talia Solitude making just her 3rd World Cup start in women's bobsleigh, only her 5th race in total. Margot's 19th World Cup race, 6 World Cup races on this track alone. Her best 6th place finish in December 2020. So a 1/3 of all her previous World Cup outings in women's bobsleigh, and that's not including monobob, have been here in Innsbruck. 5:70 the start. It's a relatively easy track to access. It's cheap to stay. Lots of opportunities for accommodation around the Innsbruck Igls area, but it depends a lot on a start. And one of the things that Margot has is good driving and not the greatest starting. She needs to venture to other tracks more often and up her percentage ratio. Well, 52.87, 7th at the moment, ahead of Andrea Grecu, Victoria Chinanska, Sarah Blizzard, and Ying Qing of China. And yeah, 0.4 of a second gap to Keisha Love in 6th. Lots of room for the rest of the top 20 to pile in there. Whether they do or not remains to be seen. 52.87 slide. And Talia, only the 3rd time in a World Cup start in women's bobsleigh. Her most recent race was in St. Moritz in January of last year in the World Cup. Now, not everybody does all the World Cup races. A lot of athletes mix and match North America's Cup, like lots of skeleton athletes are. Europe Cup, Junior Worlds, like this weekend. Kaylee Humphries doesn't. This is her 125th World Cup start. I know, Lolo, I know. As a driver alone, plus 5 World Cup races as a brakewoman. 2 Olympic gold medals, 4 World Championship gold medals for Kaylee. World champion with Kaylee in 2021, Lolo Jones on the back. 5:62 getaway. Kaylee warming up in the car park here, bounding for the first time in over 12 months. Gave birth to baby Alden during the summer last year. So not just a happy mum, but a mum who's working to get back to peak fitness again for her 5th Winter Games. 7th at the start. Your start is such a big part of deciding where you finish, even if your name is Kaylee Humphries. 7th on the splits. Trying to find a little something to get ahead of Keisha Love. Doesn't quite get there. 400s behind her teammates. Keisha started 5:53. Kaylee and Lolo 5:62, 1100s back. Came in just 400s behind. And Alana Myers-Taylor is 1900s ahead of Kaylee. So 3 US sleds at the moment in 4th, 6th and 7th. Not beyond the bounds of possibility, they might all end up in the top 10. Well, this duo might have something to say about that. Another new mother, Nadia Pasternak. Baby Noelle was born just over 12 months ago. Melanie Hassler, the driver, her 34th World Cup start. Nadia's 29th. Her 2nd World Cup since returning from maternity leave. Started the race in Altenburg with Mel. 5:53 the getaway. So that is the 5th fastest start. 5th on the splits as they get to corner 3. Some sleds were very quick in the 2-man and the 4-man race. Let's see what it can produce here in terms of speed. Top 6 speed. Nice exit from the Kreisel for Melanie Hassler. 4th best speed. And, oh, little meander down to 10. It looked pretty decent off 9. Didn't come quite as straight as she would have liked. 6th at the line, 7th at the line. 52.56. 200s ahead of Kaylee Humphries, 200s behind Keisha Love. So she splits the Americans. We had a couple of ties in the men's first heat. 1 2-way tie, 1 3-way tie. In fact, last year in the 4-man we had a 3-way tie at the end of the race for 6th position. But no ties so far in the women's field, the first 13 sleds. The gaps, however, are habitually tiny here. Innsbruck is the shortest of the World Cup tracks we use. And they actually have a 1-kilometre track as well in Austria, in a town called Bludenz. Well, next up, Melissa Lottholz from Canada, the North America's Cup champion. 6 World Cups here for driving. Best here January 2021. She was 5th. That is a World Cup best result for Melissa. 5:63 getaway. So right where Kaylee Humphries is with Lolo Jones, and Melissa as so often with Leah Walkerton behind her. 9th place start. Eighth best speed into the Kreisel. Comes out nicely for corner 8. Only the 12th best speed. Oh, and a late flop off 9 as well. Not too much of a hit and a skid. Down into the labyrinth. Pretty tidy. Where's she going to be the line? 10th or 11th? It is 11th place. 53 dead. And that leaves her 400s behind Andrea Grecu, who is in 10th. So Bregman Leah Walkenden, her 15th start in women's bobsleigh. Melissa Lott-Holtz, the driver, her 15th World Cup start as a driver. Well, got tapped square there out of 9, which worked nicely for her. Could have come off a lot worse. Not too late there into 12. So just a whisker outside the top 10. Next up from Belgium, Kelly van Petegem with Dora de Hasselaer making her 3rd World Cup start. Her debut in St. Moritz in January 24, raced in Altenburg in February 24, and then raced here in Europe Cup in December with Kelly, where they had a crash in the first race. Did not go in the second. 7th World Cup start for Kelly van Petegem as a driver, +1, pushing her now coach Anne van Urenhouse. 5.81 getaway. Kelly turning into a neat and tidy driver, and that definitely is going to help on this track. Of course, she makes me a liar by tapping the wall there. 3 to 4. Down to the Kreisel. 15th track on ice, 13th best speed. Sled known as Ruby, 12th best speed. Double tap. Thirteenth place on the splits from the 12 fastest start. She's going to struggle to catch, tied with Sarah Blizzard. I was going to say she struggled to catch Victoria Chananska. In fact, she went a little further backwards, tied with Sarah Blizzard for 13th place out of the 15 sleds. So either both of them will make it in, or they will both be out of a second heat. Only time will tell us which. Gets the double tap there, but then the sled won't stay off the wall and gets another little double tap before 10. Down in the labyrinth, 12-13 crossover. Never looks comfortable, does it? 16th starter, 30th World Cup race for Canada's Cynthia Appiah. 4th time Skylar Sieben has been in a World Cup race. A former heptathlete and hurdler from the University of Arizona Wildcats. Driving debut for Sin was here in January 2020. She finished in 10th place. Her best the next season, a 4th place finish in Innsbruck, and that remains her best World Cup result. Now, 10th place start. It's going to be very hard to get into the top 4. The track may not be helping either. Nice line through the Kreisel. Comes out maybe a little early. 12th best speed, late flop off 9, tappity tap down to 10. Gets decent height, nice exit into 11. See the fan pulling his head in quickly as the sled whistled out and into the labyrinth. Brakes, she turns around immediately. 53-13. Good job on the anchors by Skylar Sieben. Yeah, no matter where else you've raced, the first time you come to Innsbruck and have to brake after the finish line. You think, really, what on earth is this place about? Well, brought it down a little early out of the Kreisel. The centrifugal forces kind of pushed her sideways into the wall, so she skated sideways into 8. And out of 9, watch the runners. Big steer on the end, digging out lots of ice as she falls off the end of the corner. And the taps and the skids removing further speed from the sled. Cleanliness is definitely next to godliness and right behind speediness on this track. Linda Wyszewski and Klaudia Adamek. 10th World Cup start for Wyszewski and a 4th for her brakewoman. New to the team this year, made a debut in Altenburg, had not raced at all. 4x100 world silver medalist, 4x200 world gold medalist Klaudia Adamek. One of Poland's fastest sprinters. 9th in the last 2 races, Linda Wyszewski, her 2 World Cup best results. She is having her best season and just avoids the wall. 5:49 getaway, and that is the 4th fastest start. What a lot this new young brakewoman is bringing to the party. And that's what everybody needs, especially here. This is a drag race. If you don't accelerate off the line, you haven't got much to shout about. Little uncomfortable out of the Kreisel. Not too bad out of 9. Was 4th place at the Kreisel. But all of that untidiness is costing her speed from 5th out to 7th. This will be a comfortable top 10 run at the line. Really good stuff from the Poles. David Kupchak on the left, the coach, 52.58. David had his time driving early this century. That makes it sound like he's 100 years old, doesn't it? But, you know, we're only a quarter way into the century for Poland. David and Martin Kupchak been running the Polish crew for a long while. Yeah, early off Kreisel, and look at this, like diving off it. So cutting ice to come off that early and then digging into the track as you do so, taking a lot of speed out of the sled. And it's tiny differences in driving line like that that are going to make big differences at the bottom. Well, still tiny, but in terms of your performance. So the speed is in the track if you've got the start to go with it. Let's see what Brianna Walker and Kira Rodinguez can do. Kira made her debut in World Cup here in November 2021 with Ashley Werner. 6 starts with Ashley, and now 9 previous with Brianna. This is her 10th race with Brianna Walker. And off the 9th best start, up to 6th early on. Bree knows how to get down this track, no question about that. With Pierre Luder's coaching, lots of knowledge, but only the 11th best speed. So she's going to slip a little further down the top 10, down to 7th, down to 8th. 8th is a tie between Linda Wyszewski and Kaylee Humphries, by the way. She's behind them now. And at the line, 10th place. So she is just behind them, 500s behind that dead heat. A little smile from Pierre. So 9th best start, up to 6th initially. So it was a really good getaway for Brianna Walker and Kira Rodinguez. Brie also made her World Cup debut here as a driver back in January 2019. And her World Cup best 4th position in women's bobsleigh was her last race here last year. So it's a track that's always gone well for Brianna Walker. Sylvia Hoffman's got Sadie McMullen behind her. Sadie made her debut in Samoritz with Alana, sprinter and jumper from the University of Arizona. And it's a 5th World Cup race for former brakewoman Sylvia Hoffman. Her first World Cup driving here, raced here in Europe Cup in February and December 24. 15th, 17th and 10th, the 3 World Cup races she's had this season. 10th last week in St Moritz. I'm sure she'll be happy to go back again next weekend for that. 5:56. Last weekend in St Moritz, her first top 10 result as a driver, her World Cup best. 10th at the start. 10th place on the splits at the moment. Kaylee is tied for 8th, Alana is 4th. 17th best speed though. That looks a little better, 12th best speed, still in 10th place. Nice from 9 to 10, a little drift, but not cutting too much ice. The speed is on board. Top 10 run all the way from Sylvia Hoffman. And Sadie McMullen across the line. It is 10th place, 52.59, 100th behind Kaylee Humphries and Linda Wyszewski. On the outside of Kaylee by just 600ths of a second. So that's not all start, that is good driving by Sylvia Hoffman.
56 start.
She really held it nicely, that speed. And here out of 9, didn't panic, didn't try and steer it away too much. She's really getting the feel for what the sled is going to do rather than what it is actually doing right now. And that's how you stay ahead of it. Nice work, Sylvia Hoffman. Georgeta Popescu and Antonio Sabru of Romania. 8th World Cup start for Georgeta, 7th for Antonia, beg her pardon. The two both competed in Youth Olympics in 2020 in St Moritz. Gold for the driver, 13th for the brake woman. She continued driving for a couple of seasons after that. And the Romanians have got her in the sled as one of their best starters. 5:85 the getaway. So 20th at the start line. And they are our 20th sled down. So anybody they can put behind them now will help them try and make the second heat. Little flop off 9, decent height in 10. Well, she's not going to be close to Ying Qing of China, who's currently 19th. It is 20th at the line. 53.74 is likely not enough to make the second heat, but we will see. And Antonia not getting on the brakes early enough, and then not staying on them when the sled has gone too far. That's lesson 2 as a brake woman or brake athlete. Keep the brakes on, don't roll backwards. Very late. 12:13 crossover, and here out of 9, not a bad exit, just a little late pressure drifting her into the wall. Georgeta on the left, Antonia on the right. So 20 sleds down, 5 to go, beg your pardon, 7 to go here in Innsbruck. Third World Cup start for Deborah Annan, with a debut finally for Julie Leuenberger. Now, she was due to race last weekend, didn't. Former snowboard crosser. They trained in Altenburg, but didn't race. Deborah made her debut in Winterberg. Wanted to race in Altenburg, her favourite track, but didn't go in. 5:71 start. 7th place in St Moritz last weekend, her World Cup best result. This is her first World Cup outing in Innsbruck. Raced here in February, December last year in the Europe Cup. Got a bronze medal in the Europe Cup and also a Junior European bronze medal. 7th best speed. 16th at the start, up to 12th on the splits. Deborah Annan is getting the most out of this sled and this track. It's a very nice looking run. 17th to 13th, I beg your pardon, 16th to 13th. She is in the race, and Georgeta Popescu of Romania is out. And Annan is safe. She will definitely take a second heat off that run. 52.90. She's 300s behind Margot Bock. 600s ahead of Andrea Grecu. Both much more experienced, especially Andrea, much more experienced World Cup driver, bobsleigh driver full stop, than Deborah Annan. So welcome to the World Cup fold to Julie Maria Leuenberger. So the driver from handball and the brakewoman from snowboard cross. Next up, Great Britain's Adele Nichol, shot putter, and sprinter Kaya Placide. Kaya made her debut here last year with Nikki McSweeney. They finished 15th. And Adele, 7th World Cup start for Adele Nichol as a driver, former brakewoman as well. It's her first World Cup start here in Innsbruck, 5.70. So they start 100th quicker than Deborah Annan, who's just driven herself into 13th place. And if Adele can find the speed, she could do likewise. 15th at the start, drifting out a little to 16th place. Possibly doesn't have quite the equipment that the Swiss do. The Swiss sled program is exceptional, but 10th best speed at the Kreisel. Came off a little hard down into corner 8, 12th best speed. 16th on the splits. Needs to find a little bit more if she can at the bottom. Whipping through the labyrinth. Going to be 16th at the line. She is 53.06. So 1.01 seconds off the lead. 600s behind Melissa Lottholz in 15th, 700s ahead of Cynthia Appiah in 17th. Split the Canadians. And Adele, after running over a foot just before Christmas, still recovering from that surgery. The fleshy ball of her big toe getting really cut up. No longer in a boot. And drives herself into the race at the expense of Yingqing of China. Now, Sarah Blissett and Kelly van Pettigem tied in 19th. They either both go in or they both go home. Bianca Ribby with Niamh Hockey for Canada. Bianca's 16th World Cup start as a driver. She was 9th in last year's race here. Raced in Europe Cup in January 2021, yonks ago, obviously, as she was learning tracks around Europe. 5.63 getaway. So that is the 12th best start. Little tap 4 to 5. Need to keep it as clean as you can. 11th best speed into the Kreisel. Still 12th on the splits. Whoa, little late flop off 9. Still in 12th place. Decent looking run. Slipped a fraction behind Margot Bock of France. Will she be ahead of Deborah Annan? She is not. She's 100th behind the Swiss in 14th place. Lyndon Rush in the white beanie. A little bit of applause for his drivers, 52.91. And Neville Wright back with the team. More retirements than Frank Sinatra, Neville Wright. He never actually retires. He just goes to do other things and comes back. A lot of it is studying and building a family. A pretty decent run from Bianca Ribby. Late in the draw, you don't get the fastest of the ice. But came down ahead of both of her teammates. I need to get that camera microphone sorted out a bit. I'm only half hearing what they're saying. Next up, Lauren Jolo of the Netherlands with Hannah Kranen behind her. Hannah's 4th bobsleigh race, her 3rd World Cup start, the sprinter. And Lauren made her debut in Winterberg She's had 5 Europe Cup races on this track, so she should know her way down. 3rd World Cup start for the two of them. In and down with a 5.68 getaway. So only 300 slower than Bianca Ribby, a couple of hundreds quicker than Adele Nicol, so she should find herself somewhere in the middle of the 15 to 20 group. But from 16th fastest start, slipping away a little already to 19th place. 20th best speed at the Kreisel. Oh, and very late off the Kreisel. That was close. Now she's going to have to be really cautious. Below corner 10, out of 11. Okay, not too bad, but she's gone in 12, and that is the danger of going late into 11. Rolled over, complete barrel roll, and came back up onto their runners. Enough to scare the living bejesus out of Lauren Jolo and Hannah Kranen. Evo's right there with them, and they know you've got to look after the team. Big height in 12, didn't yoik it off, and as a result they go over, and Hannah almost out of the sled. A lot of weight and speed on your head and shoulders there, and in fact it didn't go the full 360, it then came back up, but Lauren's neck has taken a real battering. Okay, well, they are out and they are up. I tell you what, they will be very, very stiff in the morning. It is part of the sport. And had they made it into the top 20, not entirely sure a second heat would be well advised, just for the body's sake. 3 to go, and a welcome return to World Cup racing for Italy's Giada Andreucci. She's got a new brakewoman behind her, Martina Favoretto. 4 Europe Cup races with Simona Di Silvestre. Exactly, the IndyCar racer who, as a Porsche factory driver in endurance racing now and Formula E, is in her 2nd season of bobsled driving. Simona Di Silvestre trying to work her way into the team for Milano Cortina, but Giada Andreucci is back in the World Cup. Her last World Cup was here in December 2023. She hasn't stopped driving, she just hasn't been racing in the World Cup. Let's see what she's got today. 10th place on this track in December 2020, her best ever World Cup result. And boy, she needs that sort of performance again today. 5.92 getaway, it's going to be tough. '25th at the start. And again with Milano Cortina, 13 months away. Less than 400 days now, surely. Really have to be getting your ducks in a row. Up to 24th place. Again, little slidey from 9 to 10, little late into the labyrinth. Holds onto it. 23rd across the line, no second heat this time out. So Giada Andreucci and debutante Martina Favoretto. Down and done. Well, here out of 9. Came off quite nicely. The sled just broke away a little. And down in the labyrinth, out of 11, late, and on to 12. Actually, she didn't really have to hoik it off. All right, smiles on their faces. but they don't go through. 2 to go, and first-time World Cup starters. Now, Lea Hasselwanter raced in the mono yesterday. She's got Isabella Injakova behind her. Isabella, her third World Cup. She's only done 5 bobsleigh races, 1 with Lea, and her debut was here in December 2023 with Catty Bile. Lea, 5 Europe Cup races on this track in the last couple of seasons. She finished 20th in the monobob, made it through, qualified, 16th best start. That gives her what she needs. It is home ice, of course. It doesn't make you a better driver, it just means you tend to have done a few more laps. 19th on the splits, in the danger zone. In the drop zone at the moment, Sarah Blizzard, Kelly van Petegem. They can't afford anybody to go quicker than them or they will be out. At the moment, Lea Hasselwanter is in the race. 18th place, she's going to make it in. She is in 18th, and out go Sarah Blizzard and Kelly van Petegem. Victoria Chinanska is in the drop zone with 1 sled to go. 18th, they are in the race. Now, I don't know how you hold up 18 fingers. How do they know? Maybe they just know it felt good enough. Maybe they saw the time at the bottom and that's enough. There is a big board above the finish area, but it's over to the side. I don't know how much the crew can see of it. Either way, decent enough drive for Lea Hasselwanter on her World Cup debut to make the women's bobsleigh field. Makes sense if you have a home track to make your debut there. There's Lea. Well, as long as you don't hate your home track, I suppose. And our final sled, Noemi Cavalieri and Anna Costella. The 22-year-old brakewoman and the 23-year-old driver make their World Cup debut. Yeah, big breaths. 7 Europe Cup races in total for Noemi Cavalieri, plus 2 monobobs in Euro Cup. And her brakewoman Anna has done 2 Euro Cup races. Oh, the newest of new teams, and a little skid there, 576 getaway, but any speed they had on board rubbed away because they ran it too far. Well, she trained and she was on the entry list for monobob yesterday. She got pulled at the last minute from the race. But you've got to get experience somehow. There's only one way to do it in bobsleigh. There are no simulators. You have to just drive. And if the Italians want her to be in any sort of shape to try and represent them in Milano Cortina or to earn them places, they've got to let her drive. 21st at the start. It's an untidy run and she was pretty close. Oh, and again, she's trying to keep the nose down. The tail is not doing what she wants at all. And that speaks a little to me of really quite aggressive steering inputs. 54.57. Of course, I'm thinking cars. What do I know about driving bobsleds? The answer is not a great deal. But she's done and down. She has made her World Cup. They have made their World Cup debut. They need to be cautious in the start. She didn't get in well. In fact, I don't think they ran it too far. She just didn't get in the sled. Clattered through corner 1. Out to 9, very late height. It's a corner combination 9-10 that troubles the best. And again, look, holding the nose down, driving it down in the final corner, tail climbing. All right, Noemi Cavalieri and Anna Costella down and done. And so we have 20 sleds going through. Victoria Chinanska hangs on. She was first off in the first heat, she'll be first off in the second, but last to go will be the Olympic champions, Lauren Alter and Deborah Levy, looking to break a pair of silvers in the World Cup and go back to gold and take win number 5 here. Well, sun dropping below the mountains, so the second heat will be under lights. Lauren Alter and Deborah Levy by 400s from Kim Kalicki and Leonie Fiebig, last year's winners here. Lisa Buchwitz in 3rd place. Buchwitz, a big winner last year, won the Monobob yesterday as well. And at the bottom of the top 20, Leo Hasselwanter makes her World Cup debut in 18th place, and Victoria Chinanska squeezes through. Sarah Blizzard, Kelly Van Pettigem and the rest will have to watch from the sidelines, and you can join us with them. We are back at the slightly odd time of 4:25 CET, 15:25 Greenwich Mean Time, 10:25 Eastern. Wherever you are, join us for that, for the final runs of the women's bobsleigh here in Innsbruck. And that will be 25 minutes from now.